And we have the Pastor John Foster from the Christ Presbyterian Church in Daphne to lead us in our invocation, and then Jeb Ball, Commissioner, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Foster.
Good morning. I want to thank the Commission for having me this morning. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Gracious God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you for the privilege to be here this morning. We thank you for another day. And Lord, I thank you for these men and women who have taken time out of their days to come and do the work of this county. Father, I ask that as they meet and as they make decisions today, you would give them wisdom, that you would bless their families as they work. And Lord, we thank you that people from all over this nation seem to be pouring into Baldwin County. There are many decisions to be made, and Lord, I just ask that this commission would do their job well today, that they would lay aside so many of the partisan and divisive politics that we see all across our nation. And Lord, that they would seek to make this county a place where families can thrive and where the gospel can grow and spread. We make this prayer in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Pastor John, thank you particularly for your message, sir. Yes, sir. If we could, let's do, and most of you have been here before, but if you have not, you need to be aware that when we have the public hearing portion of our meeting, that individuals that wish to speak, we ask that you sign in, and we're asking you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. And then when groups are present and want to have a group presentation, we ask you to designate a person and have that person speak for 5 minutes. Any supporting documents to the agenda for the review, and any revisions of the documents made, the initial publications, or I'm reading the notes about the asterisks on our agenda, but bear with me. But if at this point I'll turn to our chairman, or really our county administrator. I guess I'm the chairman today. I'm not new, I'm just sounding new.
Scared me from
but Wayne, if you would lead us into our agenda, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Good morning, Commissioners. The first item on our agenda this morning is the adoption of the regular meeting minutes of April 20th, 2021.
Motion that we approve the regular meeting of April the 20th, 2021.
All right, we've got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, next is our administration items. We have 3 items. BA3 will need to be voted on separately, Mr. Chairman, due to a conflict of interest. So staff recommends the adoption of BA1 and BA2.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to approve BA1 and BA2. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Mr.
Yes,
Chairman, next is item BA3. Staff recommends approval of BA3.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to step out for this one because of conflict of interest.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Please note for the record that Commissioner Gruber has stepped away from item BA3.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve item BA3.
Got a motion?
And I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second to approve item BA3. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. 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 It is unanimous. Yes, sir, Wayne.
Mr. Chairman, next we have one item under BRATS, and that is BD1. Transit System 5307 Urbanized Funding. We discussed this at the work session, and there is a replacement item with staff recommendation number 3 has been added to include a resolution to expedite the filing of 5307, Mr. Chairman.
So
Staff
moved,
recommends
Mr. Chairman.
approval.
We've got a motion on BD1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve item BD1. Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It is unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, next is budget and purchasing. We have 12 items. Want to make note that BE7 has been revised to reflect the bid amount, but staff does recommend approval of BE1 through BE12.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion to approve the items BE1 through BE12, which would include the BE7, just noting.
Yes, sir.
All right, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the BE items. Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those were approved unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, next is elected officials. We have one item, BJ1, sale of a surplus vehicle from the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office. Staff recommends approval of this item.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second on BJ1. Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right.
Mr. Chairman, next is our items under EMA. We have one item, which is BK1. Staff recommends approval of BK1.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion on BK1. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second on item BK1. Any further comment or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, next is highway items. We have 5 of those, BN1 through BN5. Staff recommends approval of those items.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion we approve item numbers BN1 through BN5.
all right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the highway items BN1 through BN5. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, everybody signify by saying aye. Aye. Approval? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, next is the personnel items. We have 5 items there, BQ1 through BQ5. Staff recommends approval of those 5 items.
So moved.
We have a motion for the personnel items 1 through 5. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Mr. Chairman, next is planning and zoning. We have 3 items, BR1 through BR3. I do want to make note of BR2. This is the reestablishment of the Baldwin County Environmental Advisory Committee, which we're excited about and think we'll do great work with that committee. Mr. Chairman, staff recommends approval of BR1 through BR3.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second for items BR1 through BR3. Any further discussion or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, next are our presentations. We have 3 of those this morning. The first presentation is the Employee of the Quarter for first quarter 2021, and Ms. Deidre Hannick, our Personnel Director, is before you this morning.
Good
All right.
morning.
Good morning.
So I do want to take this opportunity to recognize one of our highway employees, Mr. Reed. He was not able to be here during our April 6th ceremony recognizing the employees of the quarter. And so we have Mr. Joey Nunnally here to give him some recognition. He was so excited, he took his family to Disney World.
That's right. Hey, you said, that was your line, Joe.
Todd, he's been a great guy. I'm gonna let Tyler say a few words about him, and Tyler's his direct supervisor. But yes, Todd does live in Orange Beach, and he got a little damage from the hailstorm. I think he lost both his vehicles in the storm. So he's went to Disney World and had a few. Life's been a little busy for him, a little late. But he's originally from Montgomery. Came down a couple years ago for us, and has been just a great asset for us. He came down with experience, which in our world's a little hard to find. So we were very tickled to get him, and he's done a great job. And I'm just happy to give you this. And Tyler, I'm gonna let you say a few words.
Good morning, Commissioners. Like Joey said, Todd's been a great asset to the team. He came down, I think we were saying about 3 years ago, working on 3 years. So to get this honor within that short period of time kind of tells you what kind of person he is. So Todd is one of those guys that if I have something going on, if I need something really quick, I can call him. I know he's going to take care of it. He cares about his job, cares about the community, takes his job seriously. Is devoted to the county and pays attention to details. So one thing, did get a call last week on one of our projects. The lady had a request for some work in a subdivision that we were doing some ADA ramps on, and sent Todd out there, and he got right on it, took care of it, The lady called me back probably 10 minutes later, and she said, just wanted to thank you guys for coming out here so quickly. Todd helped her out, got her what she needed, found a solution moving forward, and she just gave some awesome feedback for that. So that speaks what it needs to speak, and I just want to say thank you, Todd, for everything you do, and just keep up the good work, and look forward to working with you for much, much longer.
Thank you.
Todd, got some comments?
Yes, sir. I'm grateful for this award, and I couldn't done it without Joey and Tyler and Dustin and my coworkers. And I want to thank the commissioners for everything y'all do, and appreciate it.
All right, tell you what, let us step down there, because this young man will be doing other things beyond this at some point in his career. It may be here, it may be somewhere else. I'd be honored to have my picture made with him. Yeah, we need to just stay down here. We can get our steps in, whichever. Wayne, tell us what.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Next, we have a proclamation. This is a proclamation for Historic Preservation Month, May of 2021. Mr. Chairman, this morning we have two people here to accept the proclamation. The first person is Mr. John Sledge. John is the architecture historian with the Mobile Historic Development Commission, and also Mr. Mike Bunn, who is chairman of the Baldwin County Historic Development Commission.
Yes, gentlemen, if you would, step up and give us some comments, and then we'll come down and get a picture.
Mr. Chairman, if I could read a resolution real quick,
Yes,
we'll get
please,
that
Dick.
finished. Proclaiming the month of May 2021 as Historic Preservation Month in Baldwin County, Alabama. Whereas May is dedicated to the National Preservation Month, also known as Historic Preservation Month, the month celebrates the nation's heritage through historic places. Organizations across the country promote a variety of activities on the local, state, and national levels. And whereas local historic preservation is an effective tool for revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, maintaining community character while enhancing livability. Historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contribution made by dedicated individuals in helping preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a people. And whereas historic preservation is supported by the Baldwin County Department of Archives and History, Baldwin County Historic Development Commission, and the State Historic Preservation Office. And whereas the Baldwin County community continues to demonstrate its commitment to preservation as it grows and develops through ongoing historic surveys, the nomination of its significant cultural resources to the Alabama and National Register of Historic Places, the protection of its traditional neighborhoods, the integration of historic elements with redevelopment, and the recognition, rehabilitation, and restoration of historic properties. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Baldwin County Commission in regular session assembled that Baldwin County Commission is hereby proclaiming May 2021 as Historic Preservation Month in Baldwin County, Alabama, and encourages the public to get excited about the history of your community, the places, the stories, and the people behind them. The public is also encouraged to visit local historic sites, homes, and museums, find out about the rich heritage of the county. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate it. First thing I'm going to do is suggest that the Mobile City Council come up here and do a workshop on how to run a meeting. This is pretty impressive. I feel like I'm in the land of sweetness and light compared to some of those meetings. So thank you for the invitation. And I just want to say that Felicia and, of course, Mike are terrific assets to the county in terms of promoting our history and heritage. It's really marvelous what they do. I'm sure all of you know, if you're Baldwin County natives or have lived here for a number of years, how much incredible history and heritage we have. I know driving up here from Fairhope, to begin with, this county is just growing like gangbusters. I thought 45 minutes would be enough, and it was just barely. And just so many changes over the 35 years that I've been here that it's astonishing. And as I look at these photographs around the room, I'm really struck by how far the county's come. But it's really been propelled by its people, their self-sufficiency and their determination and their grit to survive wars and epidemics and natural disasters, and really to provide an inspiring example for the future. I'll also say that in terms of why historic preservation is important, I was coming in as I heard the prayer, and it's probably appropriate to say that the Bible tells us, remove not the ancient landmark. The past, specifically the Indian mounds, the fortifications, the architecture of the houses, really remind us of how far we've come and what we've endured and triumphed over during those centuries now. And what's fascinating too about Baldwin County is you have so much ethnic and community diversity here. You have the Italian community in Daphne, German community in Alberta, and the Czech community in the Silver Hill vicinity, and that they all have their distinctive kind of architecture. If you think about the Schwee Land Office in Silver Hill and how different that is, say, from Fort Morgan or from the houses in Fairhope, which are simple, were at one time simple cottages there and at Battles Wharf and Point Clear. So you can really tell a lot about how this county changed over time through its architecture, and I think it's important that we have those markers. Everything is not worth saving, but certainly the best of it is, and I know so far we've had our wins and losses, but by and large it's still an important part of who we are. And thank you so much for this recognition and for supporting endeavors like Felicia's and Mike's. It's really so important. So much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike?
Well, I just want to echo a little bit of what John said. I believe that our history, no matter who was involved in it, and there's a lot of diversity in our past, it's a shared heritage. And preservation is interpreting and preserving those elements of our shared heritage to understand who we are, how we got where we are, and help us understand to some degree where we might be going. And Baldwin County is certainly in a process of discovering its own past, and it definitely has a bright future. And I think the work that we do with preserving these historic sites is important. And I just appreciate so much what you do, because whether it's my work with Blakely, Baldwin County Historic Development Commission, the recently completed bicentennial and other projects, the commission has always supported this interest in preserving and interpreting our past and understood its importance. And I've worked in Georgia and Mississippi and several places in Alabama, and I can honestly tell you it's an honor to work with people who understand that, because that's not the case everywhere, and it really is important. It really means a lot to me, and I appreciate so much what you do to recognize that, and it's really an honor to be included in this sort of proclamation. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And if we could, let's get a picture down here with John and Mike and the commission, please.
Get her to do it.
Yeah.
You gotta balance me out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks. We're still.
There's a lot of black folders, I think.
It's pretty clear that where we're going is based on where we've been and where we are. And I was tickled to be a part of that. Wayne, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, next proclamation is proclaiming May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month, Mr. Chairman. And this morning in the audience, we have Mr. Brian Goolsby.
Hold on just a second. I may have failed.
We did not.
Sorry.
We need to pass a resolution.
That's right.
That's my bad.
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Hearing any further discussion or comment?
I'd just like to mention, that like John and Mike were saying, this county is so full of history. You go just as far back as you want to go back, there's history here. You know, Civil War and everything else. And in Fort Morgan, the battles, you know, it's seen many battles. And, you know, this county is just so full of history, you know. Up on north, you know, they got the Red Eagle's grave and all. I mean, and the Fort Mims. It's full of it, you know. But anyway, thank you so very much.
All right, Bill Joe.
I just want to say that I'm honored to learn all the things that I've learned, even more so than what I already knew about Baldwin County, and Felicia and Mike, and to have John here today. I want to say this to John. Back in the early 1990s, or mid-1990s, I think it was, one of my clients in my regular job brought me your dad's book with the old breed. And if I ever have a chance to tell you that, I wanted to let you know that he was a Marine medic that was on the ground, and he knew your dad. And when that book, he wanted me to read that book, and I know it had been out for probably 10 or 15 years before I read it. But growing up and just loving American history and world history, and I didn't know as much about the Pacific conflict until I read your dad's book. And what that did was it just sparked an interest in me. I had really dove into the European conflict part of World War II because, you know, the movies were coming on, the Holocaust, some of those movies, and it just kind of like sparked my interest when I was a young child in the 70s. And then whenever I read that in the 90s as an adult, it just... I mean, I started reading all kinds of other, like Flags of Our Fathers and all these kind of things. So I just wanted to tell you that your dad's book put a major impact on me in my life, and it will ever be. And I just wanted to thank you for that. You also being a historian yourself, and I've got your book, some of your books, and so not to take light of what you do, but I don't get to see him as much, and so I want to take this opportunity to let you know that it's been a big part of an impact on my life and my learning of history.
Thank you so much, and God bless the First Marine Division.
That's exactly right. Any other comments? I think we need a vote. Is that correct?
We've already done that.
We've already done that?
Yes, sir, we have.
I need to back up and start over or something. Okay.
I missed it too.
Mr. Chairman, the next proclamation.
We need a vote.
All right. I knew there was something we needed to do. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Like sign, no nays. Go to the next topic. Thank you, John.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, next is a proclamation declaring May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month. And this morning in the audience, we have Mr. Brian Goolsby with the Daphne Police Department, Jamie Day Montgomery with the Wharf, Meredith Portman with Portman Creative, Suntrace Williams Maynard with the Adams and Reese, Corey Martin, City of Fairhope, Councilman, Donald Burton with the Public Defender's Office in Mobile County, and Jessica Walker with the City of Fairhope, Mr. Chairman. If I may, I'll read the proclamation proclaiming the month of May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Baldwin County, Alabama. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas all Americans face challenges in life that can impact their mental health, and whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and whereas there are practical tools that all people can use to improve their mental health and increase resiliency, and whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation, and whereas with effective treatment, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives. Whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen share the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental health wellness and support prevention efforts. And whereas the Baldwin County Commission commends the leadership Baldwin County 2021 mental health team to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health within Baldwin County, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Baldwin County Commission and regular session assembled that the month of May 2021 is hereby set aside as Mental Health Awareness Month in Baldwin County, Alabama, and the Baldwin County Commission joins the Leadership Baldwin 2020-21 Mental Health Team in their collective effort to participate in mental health awareness throughout Baldwin County.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, we need to adopt the proclamation.
All right. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
And a second. Got a motion and a second to approve the proclamation dealing with mental health. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. Fine. Do we need to make a presentation?
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, we have the proclamation, I believe.
And I've got 7 copies.
Yes, sir.
So, let's have everybody come up, including us. Let's, and certainly go ahead and take the podium. You're limited to 2 hours or 20 minutes, okay? Hey, you can't make light of this. I know, right? It's way too serious. Right?
That's exactly right.
Y'all go ahead and make your comments, and we'll have these and hand them out.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. I want to say thank you today for having us. Cindy Wilson is, Dr. Wilson is a part of this. We want to give her thanks as well as allowing us to do this project. Mental health is something that that is a crisis in America, and Leadership Baldwin wanted to recognize this and put a stamp on it every May, that people get more awareness. This is something that a lot of people stigmatize. It is definitely a healthcare situation and affects all of us. The more we know about it, the better we can prevent different situations, especially in the criminal world, in our educational system, and in our homes. In the past, this has been a stigma, but it's a healthcare issue. The more we make people feel comfortable with it, the more we can treat them. And once again, we want to say thank you for allowing this proclamation. We think it's a very good deal. All right, very good.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's comments. Thanks.
All right.
Will you ever eat one of y'all your own?
Thank you so much. And we have 2 over here. We can actually take, we do have 2 that's missing, so we can take them. We have 2, Mr. Chairman. You want their group on their minutes or all? No. All
Yeah, let's all have
Okay.
one motion.
There we go.
There you go. Tina.
Everybody straight on this side. No angle in a little bit. There you go. Sorry.
Unless you want to see it.
Close the comment. All right, very good. Y'all keep up the good work. All right, Wayne, you haven't earned your money today, man. I've never done this. It seems.
Not a problem.
Just one of those days, right?
Mr. Chairman, next is the payment of the bills.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay bills totaling $15,040,443.28, with the exception of those vendors or commissioners requested to be pulled, which are listed in the Baldwin County Accounts Payable. In this case, it will be item number 113. Of this amount, $11,276,492.82 was paid to the Baldwin County Board of Education, and $703,288.27 was paid to the Gulf Shores Board of Education for their portion of the county's sales and use tax.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Item 113 impacts, I guess, me.
Yes, sir, but we just need to vote on this and we'll take care of that.
All right. Let's vote on the payment of bills. We've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion or comment? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay item number 113.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second to pay item 113. I'd like for the record to reflect that I will recuse myself from voting on this particular item. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. It's passed. Thank you, Wayne.
Mr. Chairman.
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, next is the notification of interim payments. Staff recommendation is to make the attached interim payments made by the clerk treasurer totaling $4,846,477.24 and make that part of the minutes. Mr. Chairman, next is we had 3 discussion items yesterday at the work session. Only one requires any action, and that is the one regarding the Mobile Bay National Estuary Program and ADEM for a letter of support for the Dooley Creek Watershed Restoration Project. This morning we have Ms. Ashley Campbell with our Planning and Zoning Department to make a quick presentation. We have a video to show too.
Very good. Thank you. Ashley.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here today to present a request from the Mobile Bay National Estuary Program for a letter of support for the Dooley Creek Creek restoration. They have 2 additional stream restorations they're applying for 8M 319 grant money for, and they would like a letter of support from the County Commission. We have supported this effort from its inception. I'm proud to say that there's been a lot of accomplishments in the Dolee Creek watershed, and it's taught us that watershed management planning just really is the way to restoration, preservation, and protection of water quality. So we have Jason Cadulas here today to answer any questions, but first we'd like to show a video of the success that has occurred in the Dolee Creek watershed. So if we could do that real quick, it's about 9 minutes, and then we'll have Jason answer any questions.
Very good. Thank you.
By the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the Alabama Department of Environmental Management. Alabama is endowed with a natural abundance of beautiful flowing waters. Our creeks, rivers, and bays not only serve as the engine driving our state's economy, they are critical to the preservation of the mosaic of ecosystems essential for the diversity and health of our fishery and wildlife populations. With the highest species diversity of any state east of Mississippi, Alabama leads the country in number of freshwater aquatic species. With the nation's second largest intact river delta system, it's no wonder the Mobile-Tensaw Delta has become known as America's Amazon. To protect these statewide resources now and into the future, proper management of our waters is key. According to the EPA, management strategies should target drainage areas that discharge into receiving waters. The enormous watershed discharging into Mobile Bay covers most of Alabama and comprises many small sub-watersheds scalable for developing watershed management plans. These plans, for areas draining to the common receiving waters for which they are generally named, ensure restoration efforts are based in science, prioritize areas where best management practices can be implemented to improve water quality, and fit into an overall management program independent of geopolitical boundaries which might limit actions or responses. As watershed management planning is implemented across the state, the Mobile Bay National Estuary Program, a non-regulatory, place-based program of the EPA, has provided a leading example of the benefits of this approach in managing water resources.
So watershed management plans are a EPA prescribed process for bringing stakeholders within a watershed together. This is everything from local citizens, homeowners, business owners, municipal, state, federal agencies to come up with an accurate picture of what's going on within a watershed. It's a science-based approach to identifying problems and identifying solutions to remedy those issues within that given watershed.
A watershed management plan evaluates land use, topography, soil types, and stormwater hydrology. Takes over a year to develop, requires extensive community engagement, and focuses on teaching communities about the land that impacts their waters. It identifies problems that threaten water quality and recommends prioritized solutions to those problems. It even identifies potential funding sources to pay for those solutions. Data derived from these plans can supplement ongoing monitoring by the Alabama Department of Environmental Management by identifying previously unrecognized impairments. If the water's quality fails to meet standards for its designated use classification, ADEM will place it on the Clean Water Act Section 303D list of impaired waters.
The 303D list is a list of waters that do not fully support their designated uses based on the data and information for that water body. For the 2020 303D list that we're taking a look at right now, we're taking a look at 6 years worth of data. So that includes data from 2013 to 2018. And based on that data and information is how we'll determine what water bodies are impaired and will go on the 303D list.
Once a water body is added to the 303D list, the next step in the process is to develop total maximum daily loads, or TMDLs, where ADEM prescribes pollutant reductions necessary for the water body to meet its designated use standards. Recommendations from the Watershed Management Plan target those impairments with prioritized actions, which provide the groundwork for municipalities and nonprofits to apply for grants from a range of sources, including ADEM's 319 Non-Point Source Pollution Program.
A lot of people think that point source discharges or discharges that come from a pipe are the main cause of water quality impairments, and that's not true. Those discharges are regulated through permits and things like that, so those discharges are not the main driver of water quality impairments. The main driver of water quality impairments is what we call non-point source discharge, and that's when rainwater flows across the land, parking lots and things like that, and picks up pollutants as it's traveling across the land, and that stormwater is not treated. It typically flows right into a stormwater conveyance system and then discharges directly into a local creek or stream. The non-point source program is a non-regulatory program where ADEM tries to work with local stakeholders and put projects on the ground that will improve water quality in those local watersheds.
Joe's Branch in the Doleave Creek watershed provides an instructive example of how a watershed management plan and seed money from ADEM 319 can bring together a range of stakeholders to address stormwater issues. In 2006, community leaders approached the Mobile Bay National Estuary Program about excessive sedimentation in the Lake Forest Lake. With many blaming the problem on a large construction project nearby, a watershed management plan for the Doleave Creek, Tiawassee Creek, and Joe's Branch subwatersheds was initiated. While mismanaged construction sites often contribute to sediment entering nearby waterways, the completed plan revealed the primary source was erosion throughout the intricate network of the watershed streams and creeks. Increased volumes and velocities of stormwater runoff triggered by heavy rains on developed surfaces and rushing over steep terrain through highly erodible soils incised and collapsed stream banks, deepened stream beds, and carried the enormous loads of sediments downstream. The greatest sediment source was an ephemeral, unnamed tributary of Joe's Branch. The erosion was so severe, it threatened U.S. Highway 31 and residences in an adjacent neighborhood.
We recently did a stream restoration project here at Joe's Branch in Baldwin County. That was a tremendous project where there was a stream that was deeply incised and eroding. It was transporting a lot of sediment out into the bay, causing sediment impacts into the bay, and we went in and worked with a lot of different stakeholders, ALDOT, Spanish Fort, City of Daphne, Mobile Bay NEP, just a whole host of stakeholders that worked on that project. And ADEM provided kind of the seed money for that project, but then these other stakeholders brought resources and matching funds to the table, and it really was a tremendously successful project.
With sediment pollution delivered from one city to impact another, funding was used to stabilize the tributary with a step pool stormwater conveyance system designed to increase infiltration, reduce the speed and energy of stormwater runoff, and curtail the sediment loads while preserving ecological function. The project won the 2015 Gulf Guardian Award for partnerships and set in motion a series of other priority activities all across the watershed, including the restoration of more than 11,000 linear feet of impacted streams and over 92 acres of floodplains. At Joe's Branch, post-restoration monitoring revealed a 90 to 95% reduction of sediment pollution.
Doleave is actually a wonderful cooperation. We monitored for 2 years prior to any restoration efforts, so we had a good idea of what pre-restoration conditions were. So then we came in after the restoration was completed and did our monitoring again to see if we could determine what the effectiveness was of the restorations, and so we have seen more than a 90% decrease in sediment load in Joe's Branch. Joe's Branch actually had the highest sediment load of any watershed that I had ever measured in my career. It was actually over 100,000 tons per square mile per year, and so that has been reduced by over 90% now.
In April of 2020, after 14 years of planning and restoration, ADEM removed the Joe's Branch tributary from the 303D list of impaired waters.
The assessment of Joe's Branch included both an assessment of the conventional water quality data, which is 8 grab samples collected monthly April through October. It also included an assessment of the continuous in situ turbidity data, and finally it included the habitat assessment that was conducted by the Field Operations Branch. Assessment of all 3 of those components resulted in the department determining that a siltation impairment no longer existed. So generally the department writes 6 to 8 delisting decisions for every 2-year cycle. Majority of those are addressing water bodies that are on the list that were listed with old data. It's fairly rare to delist a water body based on stream restoration efforts, especially in an urbanized watershed. That is very rare. There's been several delistings that are based on restoration efforts in agriculture-related watershed. Within the past 5 to 10 years, I can't think of another delisting that was done based on stream restoration efforts in an urbanized watershed.
Watershed management planning across the state provides an avenue for identifying sources and causes of impairments to water bodies, identifying critical areas and implementing targeted scientific solutions, and improving their water quality with funding and support from the EPA through ADEM's 319 Non-Point Source Pollution Program. As local municipalities, nonprofits, and agencies join forces and resources to create and implement watershed management plans, we can create a clean water future for generations to come.
With that, I'll have Jason Cadulas with the Mobile Bay National Estuary Program here to have a brief comment and answer any questions.
Well, good morning. I'm grateful to be in front of the commission 2 days in a row, and I tell you, every time I see that video, I don't know if it's me, but it just kind of gets me excited about my job and excited about the resources that we have in coastal Alabama. And to expand on, when you think about ADEM, Baldwin County is kind of the poster child of stormwater management and water quality improvements from examples like these projects. And so they really love to shed light on the Joe's Branch project. And to expand upon the work that we've done in Doleve, I'm here asking for that today, that letter of support. But just to let you know, those efforts are similarly underway in other watersheds of Baldwin County. We've got watershed management plans completed in Fish River, Bon Secour, Oyster Bay, Skunk Bayou, Wolf Bay. We're currently working on the Eastern Shore, including Fly Creek and Yancey Branch. We'll be doing the Eastern Delta soon, as well as the Gulf Frontal and Perdido. So that Doleve is an example of the planning process then going into implementation. So imagine as we all move forward with this partnership with the county and the great work of Ashley and Joey, over the next 10 years, the sky's the limit at what we can do across this great county.
Very good. Comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, it's golly, the environment, we've done quite a bit of money on it and doing studies and everything else. And, the money that was spent on Joe's Branch and part of the Dolly River Bay and that have actually worked. People wouldn't believe it, but they've held up to our hurricanes, some 20-inch rains. So, they are working. And, if you go into the area in Daphne, all through that area, it's, the elevations are up and down, and you see some of those, where those streams are on, that's some banks, 15 foot tall, just straight up and down vertical, where they've cut through it and just keep washing it and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And all that silt is going into Mobile Bay.
Yes, sir.
And, out to, and everywhere else that it's, that water leads to. So, it's important for us to help protect that,
I'm just excited for the continued support that we're able to offer, and I appreciate what you guys have done and are continuing to do.
Yes, thank y'all. Thank y'all for what you do. It's an honor to be supporting something like this.
Let me comment too. A few minutes ago, we talked about our history and our people. We also have to talk about the ground and the earth and the water. And I learned that the highest point between Brownsville, Texas and Tampa Bay on the Gulf Coast is Baldwin County. So yes, we don't have flooding in the traditional hurricane sense, but stormwater runoff and streams are vital and critical. And I think it's very significant that we're very much involved in this, and we've got great people like y'all handling it and telling us about it, and our citizens need to be mindful of that. And the sky's the limit, so to speak. Although we're not going to be working in the sky, we're going to be working on the ground. All right, thank y'all so much.
I'd like to just thank the commission because there's a lot of things not in the video, but the Coastal Impact Assistant Program, which is now Go Mesa funded, one of the big projects that you saw, the Tallahassee Creek project. Also, representatives from the commission has sat and continue to sit on the Dolee Creek Intergovernmental Task Force. So we are a huge part of the success, and I'm as proud today for what the county's done, the city of Daphne and Spanish Fort and all the partners, because we are making a difference and we are creating a clean water future for generations to come. So thank you so much for your support. Looking forward to working in Fish River and getting a lot done. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you so much.
And Mr. Chairman, the staff does recommend the commission authorize the chairman to sign the letter of support.
All right, do we need to take any official action
Yes, sir, if
on
you
that?
would, please.
I make a motion.
We have a motion.
Motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes our agenda. Next, we have commissioner requests.
Yes.
I have one, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to follow up, Wayne, with our letter that we were sending out to the municipalities on Senate Bill 107. Since it's now signed, it is law. And I just wanted to know where we stood with our letter, and is it going to get sent off anytime soon?
Yep, it's. I think the only one I haven't heard from maybe is Commissioner Gruber. Now, I know you and I discussed yesterday about adding a provision to say, because this, the law, she signed it, so 90 days from the day she signed it, it becomes enacted. So this letter is just kind of starting the conversation. Commissioner Ball mentioned wanting to add, instead of focusing just on building permits, also include the planning aspect of it, of, we welcome an opportunity to talk to you about that. So if y'all are okay with that, I can make that change when I get back to the office and circulate it back out for everybody to look at. And if y'all are okay, I think I heard from all of you except Gruber, I think. So just take a look at it, and if you're ready for it, when y'all passed the motion, you all wanted to see and approve the letter.
Yes.
So, but I can add that language unless there's any objection to that, but I don't know why there would be, so.
Okay, any comments or?
No.
I would like to apologize if I contributed to the confusion on that, because I did see a letter dated April the 23rd, and it said, "Dear Mayor blank," and it had the body in it, and I didn't move it. I also didn't make any suggestions, but at the same time, I wanted to make sure this letter talks in the positive and affirmative, because this is now law.
Right.
The letter may have made reference to possible, but this is now law, and we need to get our mayors, we need to communicate, we need to all work together to make sure that it does what each mayor wants and the citizens want moving forward.
All right.
Do we need a motion or action at this point?
I don't think so, because the letter doesn't, unless somebody objects, the letter doesn't have any legal effect. It doesn't trigger any of the deadlines or anything. So we've already decided and made a motion to send the letter. I think adding some additional language about planning and zoning, I don't think that really requires a motion. Now, when we get to the timeline, once the 90 days is run.
That's right.
And then we have the opportunity, if y'all decide so to do, to send the letter to take over different various aspects that the bill covers. At that point, y'all will need to discuss and vote on that. Absolutely.
Well, as the chair, and I may not have this authority, but I would hope that from the chair to the county administrator, that we can make this a high priority and get it out to our mayors ASAP.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And notify the four of us and our staff of when it goes out, maybe even have a copy for us to have at our offices when people come and inquire about either what it means or we've heard about this, because it's about communication.
Sure. And
building the relationships and move forward.
Yeah, and it is set up for your signature as chairman.
Sure. All right.
So I guess maybe I didn't hear from you either, so then I just need to make sure y'all are all okay with it.
Yeah. I mistakenly thought that unless we had a concern that it was kind of de facto sort of thing, but we'll move it forward.
I think it's better, this allows us to change the letter now that she's signed the bill.
Because it's official now.
Yeah.
It was inspected de phase early on.
Yeah.
Okay, do we need any, Wayne, do we need to take any action from
No,
this
sir, I don't
body
think so.
at this point? All right, good. Thanks, Jeff, for bringing that up and pointing that out to us. All right, anything else next?
Chairman, if there's no other commissioner requests, we'll move down to addendum. We don't have any addendas, so move to the administrative report. I just want to make one comment, Mr. Chairman, from the administration. Because this week is Historic Preservation Month, I want to recognize Felicia and her staff at Archives and History. They do a great job. Felicia goes to all the events. I saw several videos that she posted this weekend when she was out at Bicentennial Park for one of the tractor days, I believe, and I believe she was singing on the video too. So, you want to sing again this morning, Felicia? I'm just kidding. But they do a great job, and I appreciate their efforts in preserving the county's history and also preserving our county's documents. We have a big facility, climate controlled, where our documents are held with great care with the Felicia staff. So I want to tell her thank you very much for her efforts, Mr. Chairman.
Well, kudos. You're part of a wonderful team that we all are part of, and you do your job extremely well, as do others. But thank you, and it's appropriate to give you the recognition, and we'll get a video of your singing maybe at a later time. Okay?
It's out there. You don't have to look far.
Okay, very good. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, next is County Attorney's report.
Don't shoot the messenger, but we have six executive session matters today. So even if they're 10 minutes apiece, good thing we have some snacks in the back.
It looks like
Good.
snacks.
Just throw it to me when it's time, and I'll get us into executive session.
All right, certainly. Okay, now we have any public comments? Do we have any of the public in the room? What about press questions? Nothing at this point. All right, Commissioner comments? Skip?
Okay, I want to thank the staff for getting the agenda ready for us. And also want to thank Ashley for working so hard getting this environmental advisory committee together. It is very vital. And I want to thank you personally for, putting all the hard work that you did into contacting every individual that will be on this board. I think that's, we're going in the right direction with this. Along with our new comprehensive plan, I think it'll work hand in hand with everything, and it's going to help us a whole lot to understand what's really going on and helping protect the environment and everything else that they do. I mean, it's not just environment; they do a lot of other good work, throughout the communities that they serve. So, thank you again for getting forward with that. Thank you.
I just want to also echo about thanking our staff, because I have an opportunity occasionally to talk to leaders, elected officials from other governmental entities, and I'm just blown away at how blessed we are here in Baldwin County with our staff, how our staff takes the time and they're patient with me. Maybe I'm the only one that needs that patience, but they teach me things about their specialty in the county, because when the citizens come to us and have complaints or requests, I relish and love to learn all the aspects, whether it be from highway to solid waste to planning and zoning or just anything, CIS. I got all you guys in the room here. I just can't tell you how blessed that we are here in Baldwin County, and sometimes we don't realize it till we talk to somebody from somewhere else and they don't have all that's available to them. We are so blessed. And also, I want to echo on this weekend was a beautiful weekend. It was the first Saturday we had in April that wasn't absolutely a terrible weather event. I think we had the hailstorm, then another bad rain, and then I think Saturday was a week ago. It was just really windy and rainy. And so Felicia told me we don't plan events based on weather. We just plan events. And I may not say it the right way she says it, but I think you guys know what I mean. And it's like with me, I'm always like, with just my mindset, like a professional skeptic, kind of like, it's always like, you know, we're going to do this. It always rains in April, doesn't? But that day was spectacular up at Bicentennial Park. Even for people who might not like antique tractors, you get a thrill out of seeing all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying I don't like them. My husband just says he's thankful for the new technology in a tractor, one that don't leaky tiki all over the barn. But anyways, I'm sure those don't, because they look like they are well preserved. But it was a beautiful day up at Bicentennial Park. It amazes me how beautiful Baldwin County is, and how that those of us who, it does take a long time, just like Mr. Sledge said here earlier today, it takes a long time to get around Baldwin County anymore, not just because of the length of the mileage and that kind of stuff, but just because of the increase in traffic and all. So I would just encourage people to explore more parts of Baldwin County that aren't inundated with the tourism aspect that we have to, we like the tourists to come, but they also make it difficult when we want to get around. But there's places in Baldwin County that are still not been tapped into like the rest of the county. And Bicentennial Park, the people who work for the county, the staff who have manicured those grounds. I was talking to Madison Steele, who's head of our parks area, and I was like, you know, thank goodness this didn't get destroyed by Hurricane Sally. He and I were talking about the southern part of the county, and we were talking about all the trees and stuff, that destruction. And even though there was a few things lost, I said, just think, if all this work you've put into this and you've manicured this park, if you walk outside when daylight hit and it's like a bomb had went off in Bicentennial Park. I said, thank God it didn't get destroyed like some of the places did down in the southern part of the county. So thank you, staff. Thank you, Felicia. You're here, and I don't know if they ever watch this, but appreciate all the work that they do to help keep that place and Live Oak Landing looking wonderful.
Thank you. Jeb?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just switching gears a couple. I did echo everything the other commissioners say, but I just wanted to take the time to recognize another department that we kind of have something to do with, and that's our corrections department. This week is Corrections Officers Week, and we have I think one of the top-notch correction facilities right here in Bay Minette, and only one of two nationally accredited jails in the state. And I just wanted to give thanks to all those guys, men and women that work over there, because that can't be the best job in the world to be doing. So despite all the stuff with the pandemics and everything that goes on over there, it's a well-managed facility. Also, I wanted to just keep getting these reports just for the people that hadn't been paying attention to alerts and stuff. We're supposed to stay weather ready today, expecting some type of storm system to come through in the evening hours. So I encourage everybody to keep their alerts on their phones updated. So that's all I got.
All right. I think it's significant. You mentioned the correction facility being one of the second, I guess the second in the state accredited. We recently, and you'll receive more publicity about our coroner's office and it becoming the second coroner's office to be accredited nationally. And to me, that says a lot about us, not this us, but all of us, because we are about doing the right thing the right way for the right reasons. And I am just tickled. I've said before, and I'll say it with my last breath necessarily, I've been blessed to work with some wonderful organizations. And I can assure you this team is as good as any I have ever seen, because we get our jobs done, but we don't worry about bumping into each other. In fact, we work together. And that's the key to being successful. And as we get bigger, we're going to get better at everything we do. All right, Wayne, do we need to go into executive session at this point?
Yes, sir. I'll turn over to Brad to read the reading.
I'll handle it. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I recommend that the commission adopt a motion to adjourn this work session and convene an executive session for the purpose of discussing with the county attorney the legal ramifications of and legal options for pending litigation or matters not yet being litigated but likely to be litigated if the commission pursues a certain course of action, to discuss the consideration the governmental body is willing to offer or accept when considering the purchase, sale, or market value of real property, and to discuss the general reputation and character, physical condition, professional competence, or mental health of individuals, or to discuss the job performance of certain public employees. So after the motion and a second, I need to make a statement on the record, and then we'll have the vote after that.
All right, do I have a motion to?
Make a motion that we want to accept the session stated by our attorney.
Got a motion, do I hear a second? We got a motion and a second to go.
I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Alabama, and this exception is applicable to the planned discussion. And now just call for the vote.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous.
All right, and then just announce that we will not reconvene.
All right, and this meeting will be adjourned, and we will not reconvene after our executive session. Thank you all so much.